Hello, everybody. Road Warriors 627 here, and welcome back to another Thoroughbred Racing preview here on my channel. Welcome to the third video overall for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, and the second of three informal daily previews, as I like to call them. Today, we're going to be looking at Friday, June the 4th, which features 5 stakes races and 11 races in total. Post time is 12:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, there is going to be rain on Thursday into Friday morning, so bear that in mind. We might have a yielding or even a soft turf course or turf courses, and the main track, hell, we really don't know. But this preview is meant to just give us an idea of what's going on. So, of course, I can't do this alone. I've got 3 guests today, as usual, but we have one different guest from yesterday. We'll start with the 2 familiar ones first. Sammy Roseman, of course.
I'm back.
Jack Sargent, Racing Rundown.
Hello.
And making his grand return to my channel is Mr. Dennis Trusty himself.
Hey, how y'all doing?
I hope y'all.
Should be entertaining.
I'm glad you live south of the 40th parallel, because if you said y'all above the 40th parallel, I don't know what would happen. I think bad things would happen. Anyway, we're gonna start looking at this Friday card, and the Friday card starts with race number 1, a mile on the turf. We'll see if it stays on the turf. It's an optional claiming 80,000, non-winners of 2. Sammy, did you see anything here?
I see speed on the one for Platinum Painter. That was interesting right there. Speed. Jose Lascano is a good speed rider too, but you don't know how the turf. You don't even know if the race is going to stay on the turf. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to scratch out of the race because of the turf conditions. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a few MTOs in here that look tough if it comes off. I'm, as you've heard in my videos before, I'm pretty much sticking to the guys who make me money in here, and that, of course, is Christophe Clement is one of them. So if he stays in here on the grass, then that's obviously where I'm going to head with Classic Lady. But the price is too short for a win bet, so I'll probably just use in doubles. Jack or Dennis, anything on the first race?
For me, I see the 8 horse Kissing Frogs for Bill Mott. All right, when she stepped onto the turf, she won. And then she came back and won. But her best race was going a mile, and that was her by far fastest time. Throughout the last race, which was a mile and a quarter, now going back to a mile. And I think the one might be Cheap Speed because outside of the 3 stakes races where the horse was over 20 to 1 in every race, it's just a claiming horse basically. So I think that horse might be vulnerable, and with the 8 on the cutback is very interesting at 6 to 1.
And I don't have anything for race 1.
Okay, so we'll move on to race number 2, another turf race, another race where there's some MTOs. This is 6 furlongs on the inner, maiden 75,000. Anything here catch your eye, Sammy?
This maiden, I'm going to keep. This is not a good maiden race in my opinion. I don't think these horses are that good. That a lot of inconsistency by these horses. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big price. But a horse that was interesting is this 2 horse. Get the Candy, 7-2 in the morning line. You could throw out that last race on December 19th. The horse was trying dirt. The team obviously did not like the race. Now coming off a layoff, is working decently. Is working pretty good. Luis Saez is now aboard. When a horse ran at this distance in November, ran third and kind of faded a little bit, but it was still a nice effort. Another horse is the 5. Why is Paco Lopez ships in to ride this horse? Is he named on a different horse today that he came to ship in? Let me check.
Alright, so while you check on that, I'll give my comments. Obviously, Clement's in here again, so that's important to me. The horse improved first time on the turf. Just got beat by a neck, closing in to what was a pretty decent pace, so that's not great. But I don't think anybody's great in here. The thing is, though, I don't love the first-time starters either. really. Actually, is there only one firster scheduled for the grass? Yes.
He rides in second and third race. So one more race after this.
Oh, so he's in for the Tremont, which we'll get to in just a minute here. The only firster on the turf is for Chad Summers, Empress of War. I don't know. This is a tough race, and I'll probably have an updated idea on Friday morning. Anything else, guys, here?
This race doesn't look that great. If I was going to lean anywhere, it'd be Sammy's horse, the 2, but nothing sticks out here to me.
If this race comes off the turf, I think the 12 just rolls over this field.
Well, the figures are there in the last two. Yeah, that would destroy this field.
And cutting back to 6 furlongs.
And also Bond, who has the other firster, the MTO. Bond can't win right now. He's I don't know if he's getting horses ready for Saratoga or whatever he's doing, but he can't win right now. And I'm not betting a James Bond horse until he actually wins. Alright, so race number 3 is the first stakes race. It's the Tremont. It's the equivalent of the Astoria, this time for 2-year-old males instead of females. And we've got, of course, Wesley Warden here. We got that guy Chapman that's been running horses here at Belmont, especially 2-year-olds. And then we've got this favorite on the outside for Steve Asmussen, Little Drama, who ran an 87 Briz first time out and won by 5 lengths. Do you think this horse can lose? Anybody?
I think this horse is just... Honestly, I think if he runs back that effort, he should win this race. The next best horse is probably... maybe the 3 probably is the second best horse in this race. But Little Drama, I've been high on him. Not high on him, but I thought he was going to be a solid horse because Steve Asmussen debuted him early in like May. And
Yeah.
And he reminds me of Caracaro from last year. The horse, if I'm thinking about the right horse, the horse that was a dominant sprinter for Asmussen for like a couple months.
No, I don't think that's the
I think
correct
the horse ran in the Travers, didn't he?
Yeah, no, if you're I don't think Caracaro was a sprinter.
Let me find the horse.
But I guess I can give I can give what I have to say about this race. Realistically, you're probably not beating the 6 Little Drama, but I'm going to try to just because I did not pick this race on my podcast, and I have no reason to not take a shot in here because I'm not going to bet this race. I actually like the number 2 horse in this race, Pivot. If I'm saying the name incorrectly, I do apologize. But this horse was 4th on debut at Keeneland in one of their 2-year-old races. And you know, it wasn't a bad group that he lost to. Social Mandate beat Vodka and Water. Both of those horses are relatively good 2-year-olds at this point in time. And then he came back and won at Belmont. So he's got experience over the surface. He won that race by 2 lengths. So, again, you're probably realistically not going to beat Little Drama in this race. But I have no reason not to take a shot in here with this kind of informal show. So I'm going to take a shot with the 2 in here.
I'm going to actually look to something totally different, and this is why I'm against the 6, is because even though the horse on paper is really talented, Oklahoma bred, Dramedy, who beat 3 horses first time out, so didn't face much. 1 to 2 should not be the price on this horse. I'm actually going to look to the 1. First time out had the unwinnable out of 147 starts now, Tiago Cantuo. And he showed speed, had a 2-length lead and quit. Came back, Alvin Jimenez rode him at Keeneland and he won. He beat Overbore, who is in this race, which is the 3 horse, who's 5 to 2 for Wesley Ward. Then turned around and didn't like the slop. Maybe he just didn't like that. I know it's raining on Friday. I almost said today, which it is raining in Kentucky today. But I'm just hoping that maybe this horse learns something on the slop. Maybe he breaks better. I don't know, but I think the 6 is very vulnerable.
Excuse me about Caracaro earlier. The name was Cazadero. I got mixed up for a second. Excuse me on that. It's Cazadero.
Well, those are similar names, and I see where you get confused. I actually like the 4 and the 5 a little bit here, just because they've both run once and the same amount as the big favorite, who beat 2 other horses, actually. It says the field size was 3. So that's just tremendous. That's amazing, beating two other horses, and you're a 1-2 favorite. Fantastic. Um, Maybe one of the two long shots that I like, the 4 and the 5, can get the job done. Honestly, I'm going to be using every single horse in here in the doubles. Maybe except the favorite, and
It's
try
a
and
wide
get
open
lucky.
race. Like Little Drama can easily be beaten. It just we're gonna have to see who's gonna step up.
They're 2-year-olds. They're freaking unpredictable. So I think this is a good race to maybe take a shot. The fourth
I kind of wish.
race,
I kind of wish it was a first time starter again.
yeah, like on in the
King's Day.
Astoria the day before.
Yeah.
The fourth race is a 7 furlong maiden event, 90,000 on the main track. There's a few firsters in here as well. Anything catch your guys' eye?
Hamill should win this race. He and First Captain, they were bet down pretty much. They were the two favorites in their debut, and Hamill was right there. He had to leave about a furlong to go, but First Captain was a little bit better than him that day. First Captain's a really nice horse for Shug. Hamill's really nice. Is a good horse for Todd. $700,000 by Into Mischief. This horse should win second time out. I don't see any horses that are going to be as good as First Captain to beat him this race. 4 to 5 is correct on this horse.
I would probably echo that sentiment. First Captain is a really, really good later blooming 3-year-old. So I don't know that the horse that narrowly lost to him in his debut, getting lighter competition, it has a chance to lose this race.
For me, in this race, now this might be surprising. I know the 4's tough. I think I'm gonna box the 4, 5, and the other horse I'm about ready to speak about. The 2, Todd Beatty and Joe Rosario teamed up 3 times in the last 60 days. Has a hit rate of 67% win and 100% on the board. First time starter out of honor code and tis now, and they paid $600,000 for the horse. And the horse has been working out at Penn National. So why is the horse at Belmont? Well, this horse must be talented.
Paid a lot of
Not
money
saying
too.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that this horse is capable of beating the 4, because the 4 does look really good off that second place effort, but this 2 at 8 to 1 might come up and shock you, especially if a
I
lot
like
of money.
the 2 a lot. I like the 2 a lot in here. Beatty's a guy who's dangerous. First time starter, look at that, only 6% from 17 starters, so I guess that's 2 wins. But 47% in the money, so that must be 8 out of 17 in the money. I also like, as far as the 4, that's obvious, we talked about that already. I don't know about Morley's horse. Morley's horse had a ton of chances. I just wanted to mention Morley's horse because we know Maggie is not going to mention this horse, so somebody needs to. And I guess this horse can win if because of the foundation. Thanks, Maggie, for not saying anything about your husband's horses. And then one other horse I'm interested in is on the outside, Asking for a Baskin for Jeremiah Englehart, who ran on the turf first time and switches to the dirt. Jeremiah has good numbers there, 28% from 116 starters, 62% in the money. So I think I'm going to take a shot as far as my 2 long shots in here with the 2 and the 9. I'm assuming there's no entries in here because I just have post positions. But the BD horse and the Jeremiah horse.
Also, Dennis, for the B horse, the horse is a half brother to It Tiswell, the horse that won the Cotillion a couple years back. The horse that upset, who's the name? Should be Abel Tasman that year? No. Yeah. The horse that beat Abel Tasman.
That's interesting.
That's probably why the horse was 600,000. But like you said, Penn National, maybe it's just because it's a 3-year-old race. They would easily put that horse in Penn National, but they're bringing him to Belmont. That says a lot, like you said.
All right, so let's move on to the 5th race now. A mile on the turf, optional claiming 80,000. This is another race that who knows if it's going to stay on the turf, but if it is, my thing is very simple. There's 2 Chads and 1 Clement in here. That's it for me. Anybody else have anything?
I think science is very interesting in this race. Brad Cox now trains the horse for Florent Drew is going to ride 15-1 Moorline Qatar Racing owns. This horse is coming in from Europe. Horse actually won last time, but it's off a big layoff. Blinkers come off now, 15-1. That's interesting right there. And like what me and Jack were talking about earlier, about there was a good example about what's the horse's name? Who's the Pocket Square, right, Jack?
Yeah, Pocket Square is a horse that's running in the Just a Game, which we'll get to in the next video.
Yeah, she wasn't competitive in Europe, and she came over here and might win the Just a Game. It's the same thing with this horse. Their competition is so much better there. So how good is really a Class 5 race here? It's an allowance race as good as here, but you're getting 15-1 on a horse like that. Another horse that's interesting is Original, 8-1. Luis Saez on the speed is always deadly. Coming in from stakes races too, and he ran good in that race too. And Satoro for first time in the U.S. for Christophe Clement is interesting too, at 10-1.
Yeah, this race you can go a lot of different options. Cox horse is definitely interesting at 15-1. The Clement horse at 10-1 does not look bad. I kind of want to give another chance to though. Founder with Chad Brown, first time on turf. The horse has dirt breeding everywhere, but when the horse broke its mane first time out at Saratoga, Jose Ortiz rode it. Then Rosario rode. Then Gaffleon. Then Rosario again. Now we're back to Jose Ortiz. Maybe Ortiz knows how to get this horse to run. Or the wheels have fallen off this horse and it's just over with. I don't know.
He jumped off the other Chad to ride this horse.
Exactly. So, like, he must think that this horse will like the turf or something's still there. It's a tough race. It's a very tough race.
Horse I like in this race is the Bill Mott trained horse in here, Colton's Command. Now, Colton's Command lost his last start, but that was against a couple, one of whom is in here, Public Sector, but Safe Conduct was the horse who won that allowance race last out. And Public Sector was the horse that I picked in the Pennine Ridge before the race came off the turf, and he didn't run good in that race because the race came off the turf. If that had been a turf race, I think he would have run very, very well. So Safe Conduct not here. Public Sector is, but Public Sector is very iffy. And the other thing I like about Colton's Command is he is getting back to a mile, and that was the distance he won at. So, and I could also see him being a little bit overlooked in here from some of the other horses in here. He also beat the 7-2 horse on the morning line, the 1. So that's another reason why I like him in here. And that was in the mile race at Gulfstream where he broke his maiden. So that's where I'm going in here. But everyone's right. This is a race where you can go a million different directions.
Okay, race number 6, $80,000 allowance, 6.5 furlongs on the main track. We got some nice, hard-fighting horses in here that have been around, been running for a while. Anything stick out here? Because to me, the only thing I saw interesting is that Atras has 2 horses at way different prices, and I love the long one.
This race I just don't really like. I feel like all these horses, they're a couple of things. They're either inconsistent, or they just haven't been informed a little bit. A horse is interesting is maybe there's nobody really interesting, but the 8 is coming off a nice wins, but that horse is like 30-1. The 4 is interesting though, because Michael Dove owns Kendrick Carmouche horse. Has done nothing wrong. 1 for 1 in his career. Won on the 13th at Aqueduct by a nose. He came closing, but the short back and distance is a little. I would like if this was a mile, I would feel a little bit more confident with him. I think Brilliant Brooks might be better than everybody by a small margin.
To echo off of what Andrew said, when looking at this 4, I've never seen a horse go 7 furlongs, run at 127-3, and get an 83 speed figure. I've never seen that. This race is awful. I don't want no part of it. I just thought that was very interesting to see that the racetrack was that slow.
Aqueduct was bad this winter. Very, very slow.
This race is just If anything, if you were gonna like skip one race, if you were gonna go all on a pick 5 or something, this is definitely the race to go. It could go in I could see every horse winning, possibly. That's how. Just not a good race.
Not a lot of separation.
They're all bunched up. Maybe the 7 a little bit. Why? One thing is, why are all these Florent Jerome, Brad Cox horses being overlooked on the morning line a little bit? That's how I view it.
Because it's Kentucky connections and a New York racetrack.
I guess. Anyways,
I mean,
going on to
that's
the next
really
race.
the reason.
Any other thoughts on the other race? I guess I'll go to the next race. The next race we got the True North Stakes. Sound front from the dirt. This is a good race. You got Forensic Fire Flagstaff, who actually skipped the Triple Bend to go into this race. You got a couple other horses looking at bikinis. He won his race on April 24th at Belmont. You have Fat Man in this race too. It's a nice solid race. Wicked trades in this race. I don't know how Linda Rice is still out of train. Isn't she suspended?
She should be. I put out this tweet earlier today. We're recording this on Wednesday, June the 2nd. You can be found guilty a bunch of times in horse racing and yet still be allowed to do stuff. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but this race is a nice race. I feel like it's Forensic Fire Flagstaff's race. Flagstaff, he improves with age, in my opinion. He finally is consistent enough with his wins now, since he usually likes to run second and fourth in 2020. But Forensic Fire, it's just glad that he's still a really good horse without Jason Service. He's always a hard tryer. He's the winner of the True North last year. I would love to win this race again.
I obviously love the horse.
Again.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's my favorite horse in training. And the only bad thing is he draws a bad post. Where he doesn't like to run inside. And then the other thing is the track. We don't know if this track's going to dry out in time. And we know he does not handle an off track well. So that's the only thing to be scared about. And for the long shot hunter I think this race is 1 and 2. And I hate to say that, but I think this race is 1 and 2. Looking at bikinis, yeah, he ran good in his comeback race last time. I don't know, though, with looking at bikinis, because I think this is a little short for him.
I will say I made my pick of Forensic Fire before the forecast changed this morning, so I'm going to stick by it because I already put that out publicly. Obviously, the positives is he loves Belmont Park. He's very consistent at these distances, but his worst race last year came in the Forego at Saratoga, and that was a sea of mud on that track. So if it comes up as rainy as it could possibly be on Friday, then that spells some bad news. But I'm still going to stay with my pick. But it's going to be really tough to beat Flagstaff because Sammy is right. Flagstaff finally got consistent. He was a horse that could never really depend on to win a race. He'd always run good, but has now started to win races. So that's something that makes Flagstaff very tough in this race.
This race needs a little bit more speed. For it being a grade 2, 6.5 race, this race is very void of speed. Outside of the 4 who likes to quit, who I thought was on speed last time and got ran down by looking at bikinis, and well, this is just an atrocious, really atrocious grade 2. Yeah, I'm not really interested in anybody here, especially moving forward. So,
Dennis just put the hammer down on this field. Okay, we'll move on to the 8th race. That is the Grade 3 Bed of Roses, featuring maybe my second favorite horse in training, Pacific Gale. If none of you ever heard the story, I was at Saratoga when this horse ran in 2018. Got fouled in the stretch and ran 4th and should have been at least put up to 3rd and was not because the stewards love Chad Brown so much. And I was pissed off, and ever since then, she has turned into a pretty damn good horse who unfortunately seems to run better in Florida. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop picking her because I love her so much. So I'm going with Pacific Gale just because I love her, and it's a total bias pick. So what do more level-headed minds have to say about this race?
I'm going to be a biased pick too here. Just like you, Andrew, I'm going to go with the Parks horse here. Chub Wagon, probably. That's probably what I'm going to go with. This horse, that workout last time. Have you guys ever seen a 44 workout for 4 furlongs before?
No.
That is this horse.
I think I've seen one, but it's very rare.
This horse, it's been a trend at Parks. I've seen it a couple times last year. It's where these 20,000 maiden claimers are turning out to be allowance or stakes horses. I don't know what it is. Brooklyn Strong, for example, that was at Delaware. Same kind of thing. Chub Wagon, that race at Parks 2-back was very impressive. 122. She's a nice horse. I would like to see her face. If she can win this race, I would like to see her face like the best in her division. But she's always seems to get the job done. Last race, I just didn't think she would get. I even picked against her. I picked for Casual, who would have won that race with a better trip if you ask me, because she stumbled at the start. But it was still a nice win by Chub Wagon. It'll be interesting to see how she runs here.
In this race, I'm going back to the vagrancy winner, Victim of Love. Victim of Love in 2 career starts at Belmont Park is 2 for 2, and both of those wins are ironically in vagrancy handicaps. But since she won the vagrancy, she's been very good. A 3rd place finish in the Ballerina. That was against Serengeti Empress, who was would have been the champion female sprinter if there were separations between 3-year-olds and elders. She was a very good sprint horse last year, and we know how good of a horse she was. Bellafina was 2nd in that race, and Bellafina only ran at 2 tracks, California and Saratoga. Whenever for some reason, she would run good at Saratoga. That was a good 2nd for her there. And then to start off her campaign this year, off of a layoff between that Ballerina and an allowance at Gulfstream, she ran 2nd there. She was beaten 3 lengths, but she came back and won the vagrancy last out. I am one of these kind of people I need to see Chub Wagon do it against better competition before I'm going to buy into her. And so I need to see more from her. I don't think the Chub Wagon's bad, but I like the consistency that Victim of Love has at Belmont Park. And I think that the money's going to go to Chub Wagon, and I could get away with a somewhat decent price on Victim of Love.
Well, Andrew, you said I put a hat on the field last race. Y'all put a hat on this field. This looks, like 3 horses. To me, it just looks like box 5, 6, 7. If the 6 isn't classy enough, then it shows here. If she is, then she draws away by 3 lengths, 4 lengths, like she did at Pimlico. And then the only other 2 horses I think that could actually run with her early would be the 5, and if the 7 wants to. I don't know if the 7 does want to, but if the 7 wants to, can also go and sit maybe 3rd. So, yeah, 5, 6, 7 for me here, box and Exacta.
Very clear from Dennis in the, what the hell is this race? The Bed of Roses, which I think used to be run towards the end of June in the past at some point. The 9th and the 10th races are both insanely tough. They're the 2 feature races on this card. They are freaking insane. I'm going to have thoughts on these probably the day of. I have no thoughts now because of how tough they are. Apart from, I like the 3 maker horses in the 2-mile race, which is the 10th. The Belmont Gold Cup. The New York, I have no idea what I'm doing. Just check to Twitter for selections the day of. Do you guys have any thoughts on this race? I know, Jack, you made a preview on it. How'd you do it, man?
Well, let me just say right now, this could be the field for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, and if this was the field, then it would be one of the best Breeders' Cup races on that card. But this race is insanely tough. God bless anyone who is playing this race and trying to make money out of it, because there is so many good horses in here, and it's going to come down to, do you think how fast do you think they're going to go early? Do you think a horse like Mean Mary can carry it, or are Always Shopping, Antoinette, and some of the other horses? I'm not going to go through every single speed horse in here. Traipsing is another one who could be up there with her. Are they going to soften it up enough and open it for the horses coming from the back? Is Chad's My Sister Nat going to decide to run a winning effort again, or is she going to get beat 3rd like she seemingly does every time I pick her? I did not pick her, but that usually ends up being a pattern with My Sister Nat. He also has he has 2 fillies running this weekend that are coming out of first-time allowance wins in the United States. Virginia Joy is one of them. We already mentioned Pocket Square on this episode, and there will be tons of mention of her in the next one. Virginia Joy was running some nice races in Germany and she won her first start at Belmont Park, so she's got experience over the surface. But the horse I went to was the Belmont Oaks winner from last year, Magic Attitude. Magic Attitude is finally running in races at distances that she wants to go. She lost to Hillsborough and she lost to QE2. Both of those were going much shorter than she wants to go. She wants to go a mile and a quarter mile and 3/8 and longer. That's it for her. And she won the Belmont. Actually, wait, I did screw that. She wants to go a mile and a quarter and longer. She won the Belmont Oaks last time. Won the Sheepshead Bay. We know she loves Belmont Park. She's gonna be my pick in here.
I'm gonna go with you, Jack, here in this race too. I was looking at the field earlier, and like you said about this race is so tough in this race. Everybody literally has a chance to win, but the thing with Magic Attitude, she clearly likes Belmont. She's 2-for-2 at the track, and I just really liked that race last time. What's that race abbreviated again?
The Sheepshed Bay.
The Sheepshed Bay. The way she pulled away was very impressive, and she's now stepping out again. 2-for-2 at the track. Trevor McCarthy shifts back in to ride this horse. I think this horse is 6-1 is very good price, and she's the one I feel confident with in this race.
Excuse me if I'm drooling here. Okay, we got a Chad Brown second time in the United States, $1.1 million purchase from Europe, and it's 10-1 with Irad Ortiz on it. Please and thank you. Give me that all day. I mean, did nothing wrong. First time out was 11 lengths back, off of a layoff. Loved it. Came closing with a huge kick that was 5 wide. If this horse is 10-1, I'm all over it.
I don't know if this horse is going to be 10-1. That's the only thing
No,
there.
this
I
horse
agree.
should be 4-1. This horse should be 4-1, and 4-1 is still a good price, but 10-1, it's just love.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I forgot who was in here for a minute. Yeah, chances are I'm going to pick Civil Union. Again, I love Civil Union, just like I love Pacific Gale. That's really the only reason. I think Mean Mary is dangerous to wire the field. I think the Chad horse, that 10-1 horse, is extremely scary because look at that pace that she closed into. She closed into an absolutely dawdling pace on the inner turf, which is very hard to do. I realize she was the favorite, but it's still hard to do. And the only thing with Civil Union is I think she got a nightmare trip in the Breeders' Cup last year. Rosario gave an absolutely terrible ride, as he usually does. Of course, he's back on today, but what are you going to do? Just, I shouldn't expect anything different. Of course, Clement's in there too, so that scares me. Race number 10 is the Belmont Gold Cup. The first 3-turn race I will ever see in person at Belmont Park is this Belmont Gold Cup, despite going there for 15 years. I told you guys I like Mike Maker. Who do you guys like?
I'm gonna go probably with the chalk here. Baron Samedi, horse coming off has a 6-race win streak right now. She's really good. Joseph O'Brien shipping in from Europe with this horse. She liked the distance, and I just think she might be better than everybody in this race. Velasquez picks up the mount.
Yeah, this gelding is a really good horse in Europe. I don't want to dive in too much into what he's done in his career because I don't want to bore people who don't follow European racing. But this horse has some really, really good back class in his races. The one race that I'm going to highlight from Europe was a Group 2 at Longchamp in October of last year. He won that race over a horse named Mare Australis. And I'm probably saying the horse's name wrong, and I do apologize if there are any European racing fans that are watching this who may have cringed at me butchering that horse's name. But that horse has since come back to win a Group 1, also at Longchamp on May 2nd. So I would be shocked if Baron Samedi does not win this race. The other thing about him is he did win that race at Longchamp over a turf course that was good to soft, and he has won over all kinds of wet turf courses in his career. So if it does rain, you don't have to worry about this being a European that doesn't want anything to do with a wet turf course. This horse has won over it many times in his career. So don't be concerned about the weather, but this horse has the experience going the staying distances. I really don't think any of the Americans in here are as proven as him at this distance. If you're looking for an American horse, So High is one that I would say probably has the best chance to get the distance. But aside from that, I'm not trying to go with anyone else except for Baron Samedi, because he is really, really good in Europe, and he's facing Americans that are not as talented as he is.
Where's Chad Brown? Where's Clement? Where's McGahee? I kind of look a little lost here and kind of have to default to the European horse, Baron Samedi. I think I'm going to take all of the makers underneath. Anybody with the name Michael, I'm taking underneath. Michael Maker and Michael Laurie. I hate using this Indiana bred. I don't like it, but the horse is really gutsy, especially on turf. Maker's got 3 in here. Does Maker have 4 in here? Let me see. Does he have 4? 1, 2. Yeah, he's got 3. Okay, thank God it's not 4. Anyways, outside of the European horse, these horses look just above average stayers. I mean, it'll be a fun race though. Always a highlight of Belmont Week is this race for 2 miles, so at least you're going to get your money's worth.
Anybody else? I guess not. Okay, race number 11 is the final race on the Friday of the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. It is 1.25 miles on the inner turf, going right back to that distance of the New York Stakes. 2 Clements and a Chad Brown in here. You know what I'm doing. What are you guys doing? Although I will give a quick mention to the fact that Motion is in here, which is scary, even though the horse doesn't seem that good. Also, Maker has a horse that at least has a little bit of speed in a race that doesn't seem to have a lot of speed.
I really like this one. QF75, Christophe Clement, Joel Rosario at 8-1. This stretch out is going to be. I just think this horse is going to love it. Closing last time when he went 1.1 mile and an eighth, he was shuffled on the far turn, so he didn't really have the best of trip. Going 1.25 miles, he should have a better trip. And I just think 8-1 is a really good price, and he's gonna like this distance a lot, and I think he has a good chance to win this race.
I'm going to grab the hot hand in here with Flavien Prat and a 12-1 Mike Maker horse that has speed in a race that the pace scenario is rather questionable. So nothing too simple in here. I'm just going to take the Maker horse, the number 10.
Jack, I looked at that horse. That horse is definitely very dangerous. If you're down on the day and trying to get back with a bomb, that could be a very logical horse. I kind of noticed that this 5 has had bad trip after bad trip after bad trip, off slow, and about half of the lengths back that he missed. Comes back 2, 3 wide, 4, 5 wide upper, and kind of stayed in the same spot. Then he comes around and is 4, 5, moved out to the 8th pole, or 8th, Jesus Christ, cut that, 8 wide at the 3/16th pole. Which is close enough to the 8th pole, I guess. But, no, and then came rolling. I just think that this horse might finally get a good trip, hopefully. 9-2 is not a horrible price. It's not really a great maiden field, but there's definitely some interesting horses in here.
I think the purse is big enough that they'll leave this one on the turf. So that's at least a good thing. Well, that's it for this video, everybody. We're going to start another video recording right after this. It will be up tonight as well. This video is probably going to be out late. The Saturday video is going to be out even later. But they will be there. And again, these are just ideas. Nothing is really set in stone yet. But we hope you enjoyed listening to us. Anything else any of you guys want to say about Friday?
To a point of also for Dennis, your horse, the 5. He's a half brother to Schiaparelli. Schiaparelli, the horse that won the Royal Heroine in 2013 at Hollywood Park. So stakes winner right there, grade 2 stakes winner.
The only thing I have left to comment on the Friday card is please rain end early. End early.
Good suggestion. All right, guys, we'll see you for the Saturday video coming up right after this. Same people will be joining me. Good luck on Friday. Your Bills first, and get alive for that big Saturday card coming up next.